E olha eu aqui de novo. Sejam muito bem-vindos ao universo Trophy Hunters Stories The Path of Destinies. 38 troféus ao todo, né? Pegamos 17 troféus de bronze e 59 de prata, 50% do jogo concluído. Vamos nós. Simbora! Há relatos que tem um troféu bugado, né? Chama Boreas. Há relatos que tem esse troféu. Eu não peguei ainda esse troféu. Mas vamos ver. Pode ser que ele esteja bugado, alguma coisa por aí.
Lapino had apparently managed to confuse the judge by arguing that he hadn't actually stolen the winged horse. He'd only sold it. But wait, where was the prison? The village was empty. Had everybody fled the ravens?
Aqui eu acho que dá pra fazer um troféu. Vamos tentar aqui fazer. Deixa eu ver se eu fico com essa espada. Ah, vai essa aqui mesmo. Vou tentar fazer aqui. 60 hits. Vamos ver se dá pra fazer. O problema é o cara do escudo. Só 40? Depois a gente faz em outro local então.
His fault. They look so breakable. Renato thought of the Iblis stone and shivered. He had no business messing with ancient, cruel artifacts. What he needed was his friends around him. Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose.
Tem um troféu relacionado isso aqui também, parece. Jogar o gancho nesses carinha e deixar ele atordoado. Ó. Vamos pra gente ver. Vambora.
How do you tell if someone's far away or just really small?
Vou me preocupar mais em pegar as espadas, né?
Whoa, personal space.
Tá aí. Caçador de tesouros, level 3.
Renato checked to make sure his sword was still working. Yep.
Tá aí. Feche os olhos. Mais um troféu.
A chest that shiny deserved to be opened.
Joguei o gancho daquele bichinho lá. Pega mais um troféuzinho. Tem o poço pra gente entrar, tá? O poço aqui. Deixa eu dar uma olhada aqui. Temos mais um aqui pra gente, mais uma habilidade.
Cool. Wish I could do that.
Ah, eu coloquei errado, mas tudo bem. Queria colocar aqui em vida, né? Ou aqui.
How do you guys fix for life insurance? Ravens were landing everywhere. The advance guard. He'd better get moving. If they got to Lapino first, they'd eat him for breakfast. Or a snack. Ravens weren't picky. If they got hungry, they sometimes forgot to interrogate their prisoners. Even top spies like Lapino. Well, unless he really was a traitor, obviously. Then they'd probably pin a medal on his chest.
Aqui eu não posso. Ainda não posso entrar. Faltando mais uma espada.
But now Renato knew that. What would Lapino do that going to betray him? Well, he'd concoct some crazy scheme, wouldn't he? That used Lapino's betrayal against him and it would blow up his face. Maybe.
Aê!
That would be a first.
Meu Deus, 60 hits aí?
Dirty and bloody, Renato finally reached Lapino. The rabbit was practicing his shuffle. Renato recognized the cards. It was Lapino's favorite deck. Oh, I thought you were in danger. I am. The ravens are coming. Oh, the prison thing. Right, yeah, see, this guard owed me 53 ducats, so we made a deal. They're very reasonable people, actually, for weasels. Now, I got a brilliant plan to kidnap Zenobia. We capture Zenobia, we find out what she knows, and that's the whole war right there. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Capture the Emperor's greatest general, who happened to also be a deadly sorcerer, and, oh, his only daughter? That would be worth it. And it would be nice to see her. He'd always had a soft spot for her. And he felt sure she had one for him. On the other hand, he could still get to the core of the Sky Ripper, even if he couldn't get the whole thing. It must have great power.
Vamos entrar aqui agora. Que agora eu vou mudar. Tá vendo? Tem um ponto ali de exclamação, ó. Então a gente entra nele.
To make the Sky Ripper, the Transcendent Emperor had wrapped an armature around the eye of a god. Bernardo had already let that armature slip away to save Lapino's life. But even its core, the eye torn from a god, surely they could fashion a great weapon from that. The core of the Sky Ripper? Lapino's excited. That's an actual thing that we could just go and get. You've been busy. He sure had. Renato told him all the things he'd been up to. Soon they got to talking about old times, about wages they'd won and lost, and scrapes they'd barely got out of. It was good to be back with his friend. Renato grinned. It's beautiful here, thought Renato. It was nice to be back with his old war buddy. All right.
Capítulo
There was a
10.
traitor. But still, it was good company.
Pegar o núcleo de Skippers.
You know, ore is pretty heavy to carry.
57.
You know what's not? A new sword.
Tem ali. Vai usar o gancho. Tem esse poço aqui.
This chest made music when you opened it. Too
60.
bad it was Muzak.
Cara, eu não sei se eu entro nesse poço ou se eu uso o gancho ali, né? Se eu usar o gancho aqui, eu não consigo voltar mais. Provavelmente não. Porque aqui não tem outro lugar pra me usar o gancho. Ah, vambora.
Ah, Zenobia.
Ah, não, tem. Ah, acho que tem.
Now that he knew she
Acho que
still
tem.
loved him, he wanted to go back to her.
Olha aí, ó.
But that hadn't worked out, had it? Maybe it was time to find the core of the Skyrim.
Aí. Beleza, então. O problema desse jogo é isso, né? Você não sabe direito pra onde que você vai, se dá pra você voltar, se não dá. E as fases vão repetir bastante. Depois, com o passar do tempo, você fica ligeiro onde que você tem que ir. Mas agora, né?
There was something sour in the air. Like the earth had ruptured over something that had been fermenting for a very long time.
Beleza, 7-3. Beleza, acho que já dá pra gente já fazer a outra espada, hein? Acho que eu tenho ela aqui já, velho. Eu vacilei na hora de entrar lá.
Where did that go to? His mother had never let him wave his sword around at home. He guessed he was still compensating for that. Renato felt wrong all over. He could feel an almost palpable sickness in the air. And if the land could have tumors, they would look like these monstrous crystals. The forest was quieter than it had been. There were insects, but few birds, if you didn't count the ravens. Renato smelled sick animals and dying ones, but no healthy ones. And getting a bad feeling about this, Renato thought. Maybe Lapina was right. Maybe they should have kidnapped Zenobia instead of coming here. As he held the radiant icosahedron, Renato felt queasy, like dozens of tiny worms were nibbling his insides. It wasn't healthy to be so close to the eye of a god. How could he use it? He could take it to the observatory. The scientists there could tell him how to harness its ancient power. But honestly, Renato ached to get away from it. Tell you what, said Lupino. I'll take it to the observatory. You attack the Imperial outpost. The Imperial outpost was a vital communications node. Taking it could shatter the Empire's ability to coordinate. And it would be full of secret plans and maps and maybe even rebel prisoners. It was a good target for a hero like Renato. But what if this was a ruse so that Lupino could get the core into the hands of the Empire? Was Renato ready to take that risk? Maybe it was better if he brought the core to the scientists himself.
Duas escolhas, a gente pode entrar no primeiro, tanto na segunda, né? Aqui, ó. Aqui, ó. Vamos entrar aqui no primeiro.
Lupino was a touchy rabbit. Renato knew that. You're brave, I know, Renato said. But this is what I was hired to do. Oh, well, at least let me run ahead and warn them you're coming. Renato wondered if Lupino was up to no good. What if the rabbit... As Renato watched Lupino vanish on the horizon, he could feel nausea building in him. He felt ill. Could his knees really be aching this much? But how could he have handed the core off to Lupino? That was a recipe for disaster. He was practically sure he'd find something useful in one of these things.
Caraca, eu já tinha espada, velho. Apareceu nenhum altar pra mim. Pra mim dar uma olhada, velho. O bicho caiu. Nossa, que travado, hein? Isso é louco.
Renato wondered what would happen if he jumped. Would he be rescued by an emergency platform?
Opa!
I didn't run for my nest, said the lead raven. Renato felt worse. All his joints were aching now. He'd been through beatings that felt better than this. So the core had a kind of poison that could harm you without even touching you. That's new. Well, it had power. The rebellion needed something with power. And how was this any worse than a sword wound? Well, a death by sword was sudden and fair. This was just squalid.
Tem a porta lá que eu não entrei, eu acho.
Death like old age.
O problema é isso, que você não volta mais.
Renato was dead tired. Then he was just dead. hero had once invested in a jewel store, but it lost money.
Beleza.
Someone kept robbing it. Of course, it was him. Get all the ingredients for a pretty nifty sword. The Nexus Observatory had some of the Empire's greatest scientists. If anyone could rig the core into a useful weapon, and even better, make it stop leaking poison, it would be them.
Aí.
Fire? Yes, please.
Level 2. Eu vou com essa level 1 porque eu quero fazer o combo ainda.
There was an inscription on the platform. Balaleganes.
Se eu faço o combo. Tem que puxar as alavancas pra você não tomar uns tiros. Tomei uns par. Se eu faço aqui, ó. Ah, não deu.
I was surprised that he didn't feel more pain. Just a bit dizzy.
Tá aí. Mais um troféu ficando na ruína. Ótimo. Eu decidi abrir baú, essas coisas aradas todas.
The observatory was a burning hulk. Dead scientists everywhere. Bernardo found the mad rabbit cowering under a desk. Bernardo wasn't sure he believed that. But the Peter was talking so fast. It always seemed to make sense. The secret rebel base. Yes. They had engineers there. But wait. Calaveras, the sage in the mountains. Maybe he would know what to do with the naked core.
Primeira opção também.
The core was killing him. He needed help. The sage, Calaveras, had given him the maps to find the armature and the core. If anyone knew the true name of the Transcendent Emperor... The base of the mountain was the only safe place for a landing. He would have to continue on foot. Muscles aching. Calaveras was a scholar, not a doctor. Could he really save Bernardo from the poison radiating from the lost god's eye he was so recklessly carrying? He wished there were more pylons he could use the hook on. They really needed to construct additional pylons.
Vamos ver se eu consigo fazer. Breaker. Nossa.
Go, he thought.
Tô sem vida, né?
Stay away from the other guy's sword, you know?
Aqui vai ser foda.
Bye-bye, life, he thought. Hello, emptiness.
Eu tô tentando fazer o combo.
This was not a fun way to die, even if he survived. No one would write ballads about the fox whose knees ached forever, would they? Not unless he paid for it. He hated paying for publicity.
Vou abrir aqui, ó. Aqui tem um altar, tem outro lá, tem uma porta aqui. Vou abrir essa porta.
Ice walls only let you through if they knew you were cool.
A gente entra aqui.
A doctor once told Renato that fruit was a placebo,
Puta merda.
but he felt better. That was what was important. It was chilling walking through the living mountains. There was always noise up ahead. Insects, birds, the croak and flutter of ravens arranging ambushes. But close by, there was only the breeze and the trickle of melting snow. As if every living thing was holding its breath for his poisonous burden to move on. There was a sign. Take the goat across first.
Ah, tem uma porta lá embaixo, hein?
If he ever had a castle, he was going to hide his stuff better. Dying, he thought. I'm the hero. It was definitely easier to fight inanimate objects. Hoped his hook didn't break.
Mais um pergaminho.
Give me a lever, said Archimedes, and I shall open the gate.
Acionar a alavanca para eles quebrar aqui para nós. Nossa! I wonder what happens if I go that way. Velocidade de ataque nível 3.
Time was running out for the rebellion. They might already be fighting the Imperial fleet. Everything hinged on Calaveras' ability to turn an exiled god's eye into something deadly.
Não sou nenhum novato. Mais um troféuzinho pra nós.
The core, splendid, croaked Calaveras. Where's the armature?
Right, I was kind of hoping you wouldn't need it.
No, I don't. It's just a professional interest. We've got much better prismatics than the old TE ever did.
So Calaveras was an arcane engineer. He fussed at the core all day. He wrapped it with silver chains, and in front of it, he placed a huge, round ruby, so that it looked like a monstrous, floating eye. Ah, so, what is it?
Yeah, I call it the Oculum. It's my very first death ray.
And it won't poison me?
Oh, no, it's completely safe now.
Anything I should watch out for?
Yeah, try to avoid pointing at any mirrors.
As he loaded the oculum onto the Farfarer, Bernardo was a little concerned about Calaveras. People who were utterly sure of themselves, he had found, were either experts or horribly wrong. Or both. But Bernardo only needed to fire the oculum once. He only needed to destroy one ship, the Emperor's ship, and the war was over. Bernardo plunged into the Imperial fleet. He felt the oculum humming. He no longer felt sick. This was going to be fun. Or at least, it was going to be over. Bernardo resisted the temptation to fire the oculum until the time came. He could sense its arcane energies yearning to escape the sage's wrappings. But it wasn't eating him alive. So that was a plus. He felt good about himself. He'd saved a friend, he'd helped the rebels, he'd relied on himself, but he'd listened to others. He felt like the right sort of hero. Wise, yet decisive. Calaveras had been so sure it would work. Maybe he could fire it just a few times. No harm in that, right? But only when he absolutely needed to. Had that door been opened before? Felt like Tarzan. Reynardo's arm was getting tired. The core was no longer eating at him, but he still felt weak. His stamina was shot. But he had the oculum. When the ravens swarmed him, it would sometimes fire its death ray. It seemed to be warming up too, firing more and more often. Maybe he should let it cool off. Yeah, he decided to stop using it entirely. Imagine if you built a house of one of these things. It would be amazing. It would be like having a boat.
Eu não quero usar a espada mais forte porque vou tentar fazer os combos, né? O problema é os caras do escudo.
Should have died a pirate.
Quase.
Thought.
Tem que trocar de espada.
Since what? Not really like the sound of a sword made in the air.
Tá aí. Mais um troféu. Que magia. Ótimo. Ótimo.
Odd. The oculum was.
É como uma pequena estrela da morte.
You almost thought it was getting even hotter.
É nóis.
Well, that was ridiculous, of course. Anyway,
Aumentei agora, 75 de combo. Bom demais.
The whole contraption into the abyss, and the Emperor's ship was now in range. Reynardo squinted. He could make out the line of ravens protecting the ship. Zenobia in front, conjuring. And on the deck, yes, that was His Imperial Majesty, pacing in his golden armor. Reynardo lined up his shot and fired. Caught in the beam, the ship burst into flames. The ravens and Zenobia exploded. The Emperor too exploded. Reynardo waited for the beam to stop, but it only got brighter, and the oculum hotter. Frantic, Reynardo pulled the oculum towards the abyss. The ruby burst into flames. The shiny metal casing glowed, then melted. That was good. Now the core could cool off, right? Reynardo ran. The blast incinerated him instantly, along with both fleets. The shockwave could be felt across all Erda. That winter, with neither Empire nor rebels to rule them, the islands slid into banditry. And so began the Second Age of Darkness. Oh, damn it. He lost again, and died. But there was burning Ubar behind him.
Que tipo de herói é você? Nova história concluída.
But he'd learn another true thing. The core was powerful, but dangerous.
Recompensa 2 níveis. Beleza. Continuar.
He knew enough now, he thought. All these truths tumbling around each other in his head. There must be a way to puzzle the pieces together. If he used everything he knew, he could discover a new path to destiny. The book's pages fluttered to the beginning once again. Faster than before? And he fell. The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Reynardo knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong. But he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis stone was hidden there. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it. To take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. And also, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Of
A
course,
chave.
Reynardo had a pretty strong suspicion that Lapino had betrayed the rebellion. And he had a gut feeling that he needed to use that to his advantage.
Então agora o que ele vai fazer? Vou seguir aqui a chave, tá? Deixa eu ver aqui uma coisa. Vou seguir essa fechadura aqui, ó.
Reynardo finally realized that Lapino was a traitor to the cause. And maybe Reynardo could use that
Ali
somehow.
tem uma chave, tem um ponto de exclamação ali em cima. Então aqui nós vai aqui.
Reynardo couldn't quite put his paw on when he'd realized Lapino was working for the Empire. He'd never exactly seen Lapino sending coded messages to the palace, but he was sure. The rabbit had been on too many disastrous missions where he was the only survivor, or where he accidentally missed getting on the boat that went down to the abyss in flames. If Reynardo could prevent Lapino from getting back to the fleet with all the intelligence he'd probably gathered, it might be worth the trip. How had they come to this? They'd been on so many adventures together. Lapino had talked Reynardo out of prison at least 4 times, and Reynardo had rescued Lapino from at least 2 lynch mobs. Ooh, wouldn't this gauntlet look swell with that jewel in it?
Eu peguei esse aqui, Critical. Level 1. Danos físicos, né? 20%, 40%. Tá bom.
But he'd always felt that the rabbit resented him. Peppino was hilarious because he was so down on himself and everyone else. But behind the laughs, he wasn't a happy camper. Ooh, was this payback? Or did the Empire have his little white tail in a vice? You couldn't hack this kind of firewall. You had to warm it up to you.
Baúzão escondido.
The terror of the sandcastles when he was two.
Aumentar aqui a vida a 150, tá joia.
There was still no sign of Lupino. Not a hair, not a pellet. Was he hiding in the cemetery further down the road? That didn't seem like him. Is there a word for a lot of ravens? Like a doofus of ravens? Type. Lapino would betray him. The core was dangerous. And Bernardo had a fleeting idea that the two ideas went together somehow. And then it was gone again. Ah, damn ideas. They never stuck around when you needed them. There was a pleasant breeze coming through that door. Had it been closed before?
Resistência física nível 2. Ótimo.
Bloody and exhausted, Renato finally reached Lapino. The rabbit was practicing shuffling his favorite deck. Now that he knew what... Oh, I am! The ravens are coming! Now, I got a clever plan to kidnap Zenobia. Renato wanted to clap shackles on the rabbit and shout, "You're a traitor, and I'm not falling for it." But if there was one thing Renato was sure of, it was that the core of the Sky River was dangerous mostly to its user. If he could put it in the Emperor's hands, old Lysander III might blow himself and his fleet up with it. Yes, that was it.
Posso entrar nas duas, né?
A traitor?
Primeira.
I'm hurt, said Lapino. Why ever would you say that? We found your code book, said Renato. They hadn't, but he hoped Lapino would blow his cover. You got me, said Lapino. And you know what? I don't regret a thing. It's always about you, isn't it? You're the pretty hero. You get the girl, you get the medal, and what do I get? Rabbit food. I thought you liked rabbit food. Go to hell, said Lapino. And he made a gesture, and 20 ravens came out of nowhere and stabbed Renato to death. He had tried something bold,
Morri.
the price for it. How had they come to this? They'd been on so many adventures together. Lapino had talked Renato out of prison at least 4 times, and Renato had rescued Lapino from at least 2 lynch mobs.
Confrontar traidor.
Try out that one. And here was a handy workbench.
Bora.
but he'd always felt that the rabbit resented him. Lupino was hilarious because he was so down on himself and everyone else. But behind the laughs, he wasn't a happy camper. Ooh, was this payback? Or did the Empire have his little white tail in a vice? When Ronaldo went to the china shop, for some reason the owner was always nervous.
De novo? De novo vou pegar aquilo lá.
What was behind that door? Renado's nose told him there was treasure there. They must have forgotten it in a hurry. Surely they wouldn't mind if he helped himself to it. After all, he wouldn't even know.
Resistência física nível 3. Pera aí, resistência física nível 3. Já tem.
Ravens were landing everywhere from dropships. He'd better get moving. If they got to Lupino first, the rabbit would give the Empire all the intelligence he'd been stealing from the rebellion, and they'd probably give him a medal. He'd have to be very careful about how he played Lupino. At the slightest hint of danger, the mad rabbit would take off like a rabbit. Ah, the road less traveled, thought Ronaldo. How intriguing.
Chance crítica nível 3.
Bloody and exhausted, Renato finally reached Lupino. The rabbit was practicing shuffling his favorite deck. Now that he knew what the rabbit was, there were a few things about him that Renato didn't find so amusing anymore. You sent me an urgent message saying that you're in danger. Oh, I am. The ravens are coming. Now, I got a clever plan to kidnap Zenobia. Renato wanted to clap shackles on the rabbit and shout, "You're a traitor, and I'm not falling for it."
But if there was one thing Renato was sure of,
Vamos para baixo
it was
agora.
that the core of the Sky River was dangerous mostly to its user. If he could put it in the Emperor's hands, old Isengrim III might blow himself and his fleet up with it. Yes, that was it. Renato felt like a real hero, brave and smart. Right. Now, all Renato had to do was fight his way through Zenobia's invading troops, sneak onto her ship and into her bedroom, and kidnap her without any of her dozens of guards alerting her. Then, he would rely on her love for him to convince her how evil her father was, so she'd run away with him instead of going back to her father, who was going to blow himself up. It did sound a little risky. But Renato had a feeling it would work out somehow. It always did.
Eu vou entrar na porta primeiro. Ótimo, agora a gente continua.
A chest full of old banana peels. There had to be more. There was. Where was a workbench when you needed one? Oh, never mind. Hero wall, hero sword, firewall, fire extinguisher.
He needed some way to break the ice with this war, so to speak.
Say goodnight, Gracie, said Renato, wondering who Gracie was.
Tem uma porta lá. Olha aí.
Renato was halfway to Zenobia's encampment when Lapino showed up. He was disheveled and distraught.
They jumped us. I barely got away. Oh, they got the core.
Oh, it was all going according to plan, thought Renato. Now he just needed Zenobia on his side. Yes, that was even better. The Iblis Stone. Zenobia could get it. And then the Emperor would have to pursue them. Wait. No. The gem would corrupt anyone. Even her. That's it, he thought. Even Lapino. Even though Lapino was already a traitor. It would turn him against his secret master, the Emperor. He would try to make himself Emperor. And the Emperor would have to defend himself with the core. Boom. He was a super genius. This is terrible, Renato told the rabbit. If only I had gone for the Iblis Stone. But now it's lost in enemy territory. He handed Lapino a map. It gives the bearer so much power. We can only hope the Emperor never finds it. What was that? Said Lapino. I think someone's following us. I didn't hear anything. Rabbit ears. You go on ahead. I'll check it out. And with that, Lapino hopped off with the map. Maybe I should follow my nose, thought Renato.
Nossa. Ô, louco!
Reynardo slinked through Zenobia's ship, making no sound at all. She was curled up on her bed. He'd forgotten how beautiful she was. How sleek, how soft. He tapped her on the shoulder with his sword. She was made of smoke, and he noticed he had a very solid blade to his throat. "Did you really think you could capture me?" Purred a familiar voice. "I just wanted to chat," said Reynardo. "Did you ever wonder why the Emperor adopted you? He needs a sacrifice. Someone who truly loves him, to make a bargain with the lost gods." "That's a vicious lie. He wants to bring them back. That's crazy. Why would anyone..." "They could make him immortal. An eater of souls." And with that, her eyes widened. She understood. Reynardo told her how he had rescued a priest whose order had been massacred. How he had slept in a burnt village. At midnight, the Emperor's victims had come to him in his dreams to tell him of the hideous eldritch rituals they'd been sacrificed in. He could still see those kittens and puppies. Their wide, sad eyes, their moist noses. "You can't prove that." "I've got a witness at the observatory." He couldn't tell her, not yet, why he was really here. He didn't want her to be anywhere near the fleet when her father blew himself into... Don't look down, he told himself. Don't look down. The rebellion had started after atrocities that the Empire hushed up. Reynardo had rescued a priest whose order had been massacred for one book. He had slept in a burnt village. Dead kittens and puppies had come to tell him what the Emperor had done to them. That they never locked these things. Don't you think I'd know if my father started practicing black magic? Why? Would you join in? No! I'd destroy his books and I'd... Oh, God. Okay, you're not completely wrong. They've resurrected one of his victims. Well, I mean, look, it's not exactly alive, but it can talk. A true witness, she said.
Feeling a bit peckish.
The observatory was a burning hulk. Dead scientists and black feathers everywhere.
Caraca.
The Ravens had taken special care to burn the reanimated witness to cinders. Zenobia stared at the carnage. He didn't want me to hear the witness, did he? So, Renato explained his brilliant gambit. Sending Lapino to get the Iblis stone, become super powerful and corrupted, provoke the Emperor into using the core against him, thus blowing up both of them, and hopefully the fleet too. Let me visit your council, she said, shaken. I want to help.
Could he really trust her?
He'd done it. He'd made Zenobia see how evil her father really was. He wished she didn't feel this urge to join in the rebellion. After all, he'd taken care of the Emperor, right? Yeah, but she'd always been conscientious like that. She told him... What had Zenobia got?
Descobridor de
What was more
Bóreas.
important than meeting the
Ah,
Emperor? Had he made a mistake, sending her to the ruins?
eu acho que era esse troféu
He knew that
que era o perigoso, hein?
he could trust her because she never...
Descobridor de
And
Bóreas.
she could trust him because she could see right through him. Well, she'd
Esse
probably-
troféu aí era o perigoso.
She at least didn't have to fight her way to
Se eu não tiver enganado,
He was more and more extraordinary.
Mais um aqui. Eu entrei em tudo que é porta, né, mano? Hum. Tô precisando de energia. Joguei pra 175. Meu HP. Acho que eu vou... Bora.
Good thing Renato didn't have vertigo.
Or I could go that way, he thought.
Beleza. Olha um baúzão lá. Esse troféu descobridor de bórias, você pode pegar ele de diferentes maneiras, viu? Não é só essa maneira que eu pego, não. Se for o que eu tô pensando... Como tem vários locais para você explorar, você pode pegar ele de diferentes maneiras. É explorando. Explorando, cara. Entra nas portas. Eu dando prioridade aí, ó. Entrando em tudo que é porta. Quando você consegue abrir com as espadas, né, mano? Então já. Mais um. Tesouros e reais. Mais troféu. Eu abrindo esses baúzão, né? Um troféuzinho pra nós.
As he came around the bend, there was Lupino, unconscious on the side of the path. And Renato could smell a familiar, sweet, smoky scent. Who? Zenobia. It had to be. She never used a combat spell when she could use drowsy gas. That meant she had the Iblis stone. What would it do to her? She hated her father now. She'd kill him for sure. The council wouldn't mind if she killed the Emperor, but murdering her father would destroy her. He had to get to whatever ledge she was on and talk her down from it.
É mais fácil chegar e matar.
long stairs. So he was close to the rebel base. Nothing was on fire. So far, so good.
Peraí que nós já vai lá já.
The new pathway made Renato curious. Everyone in the council chamber was dead. Zenobia stood shivering in the courtyard, drenched in blood. Why? He managed. They started arguing with me. I lost my temper and I wanted their blood. Not me. The stone did. Why did you take it from Lupino? I had a plan. You had a stupid plan, she said. I'm going to go kill my father now. No, you can't. You'll just take his place. You'll become worse than him. Get out of my way, or I'll kill you too.
Ó, vou sair do caminho.
A few days later, the sun dimmed. A great void opened in the sky, black as the Iblastone itself. It stretched and ripped like a vast fatal womb, and a gaze black and pitiless as the sun passed through the void into the land. And so the lost god Iblis once again came into his own, and time stopped. He had tried
Morri
something bold,
de
but paid the
novo.
price for it. What had Zenobia gone off to do? What was more important than meeting the rebel council? Had he made a mistake, sending her to the ruins? No. He knew they could trust each other. He could trust her because she never broke her word. And she could trust him because she could see right through him. Well, she'd probably be there well before him. She at least didn't have to fight her way through rainstorms of ravens.
Ô, a energia tá difícil, hein?
This was much easier than free climbing.
Tem uma porta ali. Ah, mesmo naquela hora. Mas eu vou pegar.
You never knew where the
Ou
road
não,
would take
peraí.
you, thought Renato.
Acho que não. Depois a gente vai voltar aqui, né? Provavelmente. Então vamos pra cá, vai. Aquela hora eu fiz esse mesmo caminho. Só que eu entrando na porta por causa do troféu de Bóreas lá. Agora eu já não preciso mais ficar me preocupar tanto com.
This chest was filled with reprints of the entire Sandman series.
Agora é acabar as histórias, né?
What was the point of collecting those?
Terminar as histórias,
And
velho.
there was something else.
Aqui, ó.
As he came around the bend, there was Lapino, unconscious on the side of the path. And Renato could smell a familiar, sweet, smoky scent. Who? Zenobia. It had to be. She never used a combat spell which could use drowsy gas. That meant she had the Iblis stone. What would it do to her? She hated her father now. She'd kill him for sure. The council wouldn't mind if she killed the Emperor, but murdering her father would destroy her. He had to get to whatever ledge she was on and talk her down from it. You blinked. Long stairs. So he was close to the rebel base. Nothing was on fire. So far, so good. The other guy.
Everyone in the council chamber was dead. Zenobia stood shivering in the courtyard, drenched in blood. Why? He managed. They started arguing with me. I lost my temper and I wanted their blood. Well, not me. The stone did. Why did you take it from Lupino? I had a plan. You had a stupid plan, she said. I'm going to go kill my father now. No, you can't. You'll just take his place. You'll become worse than him. Get out of my way, or I'll kill you too.
Agora sim.
You won't kill me, he said.
Primeira vez escolhi morrer, agora não.
Enraged, she
Vai morrer
raised
de
her
novo.
sword. You hate him too? He could sense the Iblis stone, yearning for his death. But she didn't strike. If you kill him, he'll destroy you. I know you. Shut up! She shouted, her sword trembling. I won't lose you again. Not for anything. Get away from me, he said, and he was very close. I can't lose you again. And he was in reach of her sword now. I hate him! I hate you too! I love you, he said for the very first time. And then she was weeping. He was holding her. The sword... The Empire had seized his ship.
Vamos fechar esse capítulo
Had to take
aqui.
it back.
Ali eu já entrei e não vou mais. Só vou fechar o capítulo agora.
Right into the middle of the fleet. It was a glaring weakness in the defense.
Caraca!
Zenobia was in no shape to fight. But he never fought so well. He wasn't fighting for money or loot or cause. He was fighting for her. For them. His sword danced, his feet flew, and the ravens recoiled from his ferocity.
Energia esquece.
These platforms were great. Renato wanted one for his house.
Hum.
And there it was.
his beautiful sky
Nossa, tomei um tiro de bobeira.
far fairer. They would fare very far indeed, beyond the Empire, beyond the reach of the Empire, to the mystical island of Avalon. He didn't know exactly where it was, but he knew he could find it. And they would find peace there. Second star on the right, and straight on till morning. I should have done a barrel roll, he thought, as he died.
Não. Nossa!
What's for dinner, he thought. I hope it's not broccoli. This was definitely better than pulling yourself up in a bucket.
Nossa. Cara pra caramba aqui. É, meu filho, aqui vai ser... Espada de gelo. Nossa, se eu não aumento o life... Fica complicadinho, hein? Nossa, quase, velho. 3. Tem que mudar a skill pra uma que enche a energia. Ah, filha da mãe. Tá, eu vou ganhando mais um pouquinho de energia a cada batalha, né? 111. Vamos
No
lá.
skateboarding, the sign said.
Será que tem energia ali? Cento e três, cara. Porra. Se eu acho energia aqui, rápido. Ah, não quebra. Ah, você tá zoando. Sai. O louco. Caraca, velho. Eu não vou sair, não. Vamos lá. Finalizar ao máximo. O problema é aqui. louco aqui, vai ser foda.
Take a leap of faith, said the inscription.
Pega os bruxos. Vou pegar os bruxinhos. Pode ser um crítico também, que eu não tenho. Putz, não creio, velho. Nossa, foi bem pra caramba. Já sei, já. Sai daí.
There was an inscription. Praise the sun.
Desce. Desce daí, desce. O cachorrinho tá aqui. Oh, meu Deus do céu. Ah, não. Ainda vem mais dois, velho. Olha o monte que veio, velho. Achei que ia conseguir passar, mano. Mais dois que explode ainda. Caralho. Bagulho foda. Um guerreiro nunca desiste. É. Puta que pariu, foi foda. Verdadeiro herói. Guerreiro nunca desiste.
And along
Oh!
the lines of the Imperial flagship, Renato turned downwind to gain speed. The Raven ships
Foi
could
foda, hein?
pursue, but they couldn't close.
Não recomendo. Recomendo colocar alguma coisa pra restaurar a energia.
Don't sacrifice yourself, yelled Renato. Then you won't have her either. On the flagship, the Emperor was readying some arcane weapon. It couldn't be. It was the core. A devastating beam lanced out of the flagship. Renato zigzagged wildly to keep the Farfair out of it. Now the Raven scout ships were closing the distance, and the beam was getting closer too. Then came a blinding flash, and the air was searingly hot all around him.
Como eu tava com essa skill
Deafening roar. He could smell
montada desse jeito, com as joias, tive que ir desse jeito, né?
but when he could hear
Mas é complicadinho.
they were alive and unhurt. And they were alone in the sky. Zenobia embraced him. They had done it. Through luck and through love, they had won the war. Avalon, here we come, he said as he held her arms wide in the prow of the boat and let her feel its speed. Maybe the real Avalon is wherever we're together, she said. And so, after a bit of an argument, Renato and Zenobia went to one of the two Avalons. The one shrouded in mists, or the one in their hearts. But which one they went to, I'll never tell. He'd done it. He'd forged his own destiny. Well, he hadn't actually done it. But he knew what he would do. Renato smiled at the book. He practically wanted to kiss it. The kid's sacrifice hadn't been in vain.
O fim.
Saved the book and saved the world. Renato owed him and his mother so much. Renato lowered the mainsail and let the Farfarer shoot forward in the breeze. Second star to the right and straight on till morning. This time, he would win.
Então, terminamos aí a primeira vez. Agora a gente continua. Recompensa, parabéns. Trajetória do herói completa. Tá, vamos aqui.
The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Renato knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong. But he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis stone was hidden there. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it. To take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. And also, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Of course, Renato had a pretty strong suspicion that Lapino had betrayed the rebellion. And he had a gut feeling that he needed to use that to his advantage.
Temos 3 escolhas agora. Ver histórias. Tá, a gente pegou aqui, ó. A história 18, a 13, a 9 e a 5. Ver escolhas. Então aqui, ó. Vamos entrar aqui na chave.
Renato finally realized that Lapino was a traitor to the cause. And maybe Renato could use that somehow.
Tem uma chave ali de novo. Um negócio que tem uma... Deixa eu ver aqui.
couldn't quite put his paw on when he'd realized Lapino was working for the Empire. He'd never exactly seen Lapino sending coded messages to the palace, but he was sure. The rabbit had been on too many disastrous missions where he was the only survivor, or where he accidentally missed getting on the boat that went down to the abyss in flames. If Reynardo could prevent Lapino from getting back to the fleet with all the intelligence he'd probably gathered, it might be worth the trip. How had they come to this? They'd been on so many adventures together. Lapino had talked Reynardo out of prison at least 4 times, and Reynardo had rescued Lapino from at least 2 lynch mobs.
Aqui eu vou mudar. Essa aqui. Como eu peguei tudo, dano duplo. Então agora a gente vai encher a nossa espada conforme a gente ataca. Nossa barra ali.
Felt that the rabbit resented him. Lapino was hilarious because he was so down on himself and everyone else. But behind the laughs, he wasn't a happy camper. Ooh, was this payback? Or did the Empire have his little white tail in a vice?
A gente vai enchendo os nossos danos, né? Beleza. Enchendo aqui a nossa barra aqui. Beleza, então? Então tá aí, né? Mais um vídeo, parar por aqui. Vários troféus. Boa caçada. Viramos a história, primeira vez. Agora tem que vir achar as outras histórias. Depois vou dar uma olhada na lista de troféu. Como é que tá, né? Dar uma atualizada nela. Né? O que falta fazer pra mim já... Agora vai ter que subir algumas espadas, alguns levels. Eu subi a de gelo e a de fogo, né? Falta essa aqui só, eu acho. E algumas skills também, né? Mas agora eu não preciso mais de itens raros, então já fiz isso aí. Beleza, então? Então é isso aí. Se você gostou, comente, compartilhe. Deixa aquele like. Eu vou ficando por aqui, você fica por aí. Um abraço. Fui.